Skip Bayless here. I want to tell you about my podcast, The Skip Bayless Show. On this show, my show, I go deeper than I ever have, taking you behind the scenes of some of the biggest moments in sports, behind the headlines, even peeling back the curtain on my own personal life. I like to call it the undisputed. Instead of debating my partner Shannon Sharp, I'll tell you stories you've never heard before and let you in on what makes me, me. Make sure you listen to The Skip Bayless Show on your favorite podcast app.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The Purple Mafia, with your host, Paladino Joey.
Well, we'll see. The doctors would disagree, but what do they know?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me.
Is it worth it? I mean, you've won. Do you want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom. Just my enemies. That's all. My father taught me many things. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
These are wonderful things that we've achieved, and there's no limit to where we can go from here.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. It is Sunday, April the 15th, 2012. This is episode number 112 of Purple Mafia. Well, Purple Mafia is available on thesportstuff.com and on iTunes. I thank each and every one of you always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to me, and I hope it is a pleasure to you as well. Yeah, hey, I'm recording a Purple Mafia in mid-April. That's,
What?
That's, that's one of those extreme oddities that you guys out there are like, really? Yeah, that's one of those rarities, isn't it? Because generally I'm doing lawn cleanups this time of year. Well, yeah, I am, but still my schedule is allowing me to do a show. I'm going to actually preview the NFL draft.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I'm actually going to do a draft preview on Purple Mafia. You're like, what? No. Joe Paladin, Purple, what? Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be able to do it, but my work schedule would not allow it. Spring, lawn spring cleanups, that's like a second job, kind of second income type thing. I do in April and November every year, and it kind of prevents me from being on the air here for the better part of April and November. I mean, I'll sneak a few shows in here and there, but annually that can be a pain in the butt those months. Well, here I am. Yeah, here I am. I'm able to do it. Sebastian Balls will be all over the show once again. A call in from him as well. Calling in from the stadium legislative. I don't know. It wasn't a session. It was a press conference way back on March 2nd, I believe it was, or March 1st, somewhere around there. Yeah, it's been a long time since I did the show, but hey, I'm here now. I mean, so it works out okay. I usually have a show in late March. Instead, I guess here I am in mid-April. Whatever, right? You know, at least I'm getting one in before the draft. Hopefully you guys will enjoy some of the things that I have to say, and other members of Purple Mafia Nation, Purple Mafia lore, have to say as well. The Sebastians, the Tony Colemans, Dan Taylor, all and the others. Good to have you guys on board. Posting on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. There's also a Twitter account, twitter.com/Purple Mafia Show. Like and or follow those respective pages. That would be oh so terrific. Yes, it would. Yeah, we have stuff to talk about, of course. We're going to talk about the Saints a little bit. I'm going to say, I guess, going to give my opinions on there. Of course, those of you out there have your Facebook posts about such stuff. I'm going to try to do the best I can to keep your posts related to the topic So I'm going to try to not do it in chronological order as much as I'm going to have it topic related, just to seem a little more organized. It's just a little bit better that way. Why not, right? So really, today we're going to talk about free agency, the draft, and the Saints and all that stuff. We're going to talk some stadium, of course, Sebastian Balls. We'll do the stadium stuff first. We're just going to get that out of the way early because that's just probably the best idea at this point in time. We'll get to Sebastian Balls with that. He's kind of the main stadium guy at this point in time. So with that, we're going to get to Sebastian's call-in. Yeah, hey, I'm sorry. If I was doing a show at the time, that would have been so cool to have to get a call-in. So, he was an insider. That was really cool to have Sebastian actually be at that press conference calling me up. So with no further ado, here he is, Sebastian Balls.
Hey, Joe, it's Sebastian. I am doing a live call right now. I am at the state capitol, and earlier today I sat in on the Vikings press conference on the new stadiums, and I don't know if you fully got all the details yet, but they'll be using sales tax to pay for the stadium, so no taxes to the working people of Minnesota, and it will raise 11,000 jobs, and 2,000 of those will be permanent, so in the stadium. And so 9,000 for building a new stadium, tearing down the Metrodome. And what they're going to do is they're going to start to build over the back parking lot and start to expand the stadium a little bit more. And then when they have to, they'll tear down the Metrodome and build over that. And the Vikings will play in the Metrodome for about 3 years, and then they'll play 1 year in TCF Bank Stadium, home of the Golden Gopher football team, and then the stadium would be ready for them. So for 1 year, we would be an outdoor football team, which is pretty interesting considering we are terrible outside, but hopefully by then we have a fully dynamic, great team that can take us all the way to the Super Bowl, and then we can actually finally host an amazing Super Bowl here in Minnesota. And I have not been able to see one in person here. I was not alive, of course. I don't know if you were around to fully understand everything back when the Super Bowl was hosted here. But that'll be pretty interesting. In the pictures, they said that the picture on my Facebook wall that I have you posted in is going to be the same one that they posted way back when, long time ago, and then it's going to be looking, and they took the architecture from the Colts Stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium, and they're going to use it on this stadium, but only better. And Lucas Oil is more of like a square, and this one's more like a bowl type thing, but the structural will be shaped semi like that, and then we'll have that view of the downtown area, so that would be pretty amazing. And thanks for letting me call in and brief on those minor details, and hope that this thing passes the legislative, of course, Senate and House, if you didn't already know that, for uneducated voters out there.
And I thank you for that call-in. Once again, Sebastian Balls, a member of Purple Mafia Nation here. Big time getting behind the mic once again, or a telephone receiver, whatever you want to call it, cell phone receiver. Hey, those of you out there, you want to join the show, have a little conversation with me, per se, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. There's no reason to be. Hop on board. Talk Vikings, talk NFL, talk draft, talk everything. Because obviously, most likely the call-ins at that point probably post-draft. But hey, you can call in about whatever you want, even if it's pre-draft. Nobody's going to complain. Talk about some of those free agents that the Vikings signed. 5 really to be notable. 5 notable free agent signings. Going to get to that very shortly. But first, as mentioned, stadium. Sebastian Balls hitting on it. Welcome aboard, Sebastian, once again, as always. Thank you for your contributions to the show. So yeah, it'll be a sales tax, no income taxes. That's good. I think our income taxes are high enough out there, Mr. Politicians out there, and ever since the income tax was instituted back in 1913, as Senator Ron Paul would like to talk about quite a bit. I tend to agree with a lot of what Ron Paul says out there. Yeah. Obviously, income tax to me is about as, quite honestly, it's about as honest as a as a $3 bill. If you want me to be honest about that, but that's a whole other issue for a whole other day. But just saying, income tax at one point was centered on corporations. It's been, and since 1913, it's been centered on the public. The dollar has been devalued at the exact same time. That was when the Federal Reserve took over. It's all happened around the same time. Good times. Middle class has quietly depleted for the last 100 years. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and here we are today. Not quite as, life isn't quite as easy as it used to be, but of course there's way more utilities than there were back in, say, the 50s. There wasn't cable TV, cell phones. That's just extra money coming out of your pockets. So more convenience costs more. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons, but enough of that. Thought I'd throw in a little bit of opinions and some stuff out there. Why not? It's not like I'm talking about other crazy controversial stuff. That's more informative stuff. Boy, did I sound smart there. But Sebastian sounds smart, and he's a good caller and good poster on that Facebook page. Always welcome aboard. Yeah. I did get a message, instant message from him the other night. Just a quick shout out to you, Sebastian. Yeah, I apologize. I was just heading to bed, so I couldn't really get on at that point in time. But you're always welcome to talk with me on there. So, Facebook, you guys out there are as well. Talk to me on Facebook. But, as you mentioned, a sales tax, no income taxes, will raise 11,000 jobs. 2,000 will be permanent. That's good. 2,000 permanent jobs, that's not bad. The other 9,000 will last at least 3 years, maybe 4 or 5. Hey, that's a pretty long temporary job out there, folks. It looks pretty good on a resume having, it's experience for people out there. Maybe some youngsters out there that want to get into the construction industry, or some people that have been shut down for a little while. Well, you did such a good job on the new stadium site that, hey, this company might be interested in you. Stuff like that. Why not? 3 years in the Metrodome, 1 year in TCF. That's right, TCF, outdoor football. Very cool. Yep, good thoughts, Sebastian. Good stuff. Good info, I should say. Good thoughts. Good info, good thoughts as well. Yeah, so it lessens the hurt the Vikings would have to play if they had to play in TCF for like 3 or 4 years. They'd lose like $40 million, $50 million actually, because of the lack of revenue. Only 45,000 seats in TCF when you can get up to about 65,000. It might be 50,000 in TCF, but you can get upwards of 65,000 in the Metrodome. I believe the new stadium would be somewhere around 70,000 seats. Good stuff. So, some nice revenue. Obviously, way better suites. Metrodome, that's the biggest complaint about the Metrodome or Mall of America Field, is the lack of suites and all that stuff. Hey, revenue builders, if revenue builders are not there, well, I guess you're not going to make as much money as you would if they were there. I guess that's about where we're going to stand with that. Yep, by the way, when you're talking about the Super Bowl that took place here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis area, but Minneapolis, in the Metrodome, that was in 1992. It was also one of the most uninspiring games I've ever seen in my life. A great way for me to really kind of... It was January 92, the 91 season, but Redskins and Buffalo Bills, two teams that I just saying those names, I'm about to fall asleep right here on the air. Just, oh my God. And the Redskins were good, but just bored to death. Buffalo Bills, boring. They never won anything. The previous year, the 91 Super Bowl against the New York Giants, they should have won that game, but hey, they didn't. They blew it. They blew a 21-yard field goal. Washington Redskins, there was really no contest in that game. I've never liked the Washington Redskins, and you know why, folks? Do you want to know why I've never liked the Washington Redskins? Well, yeah, that when you look back on it, yeah, the 87 game, and I do kind of remember that actually happening at the time, or I do remember it happening at the time. Yeah, the 87 NFC Championship game is a huge reason why I don't like them, but that Super Bowl was as well. Just, they're boring. I don't like them. I never will. Screw the Washington Redskins. Screw them. You know, that's basically how I feel about that. But, yeah, I was just becoming an NFL fan at the time. I was 13 years old. Actually, 12. I was turning 13 in 92. And it was good times. That was right after the World Series. A much more entertaining group of games in that case, but a much more entertaining championship event that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A lot more. I thought the Super Bowl was about as underwhelming as could be, but hey, thank God it didn't bore me too much. And the 92 NFL season was a lot of fun, and I've been a very huge fan ever since. 20-year anniversary. Yep, happy anniversary to the Super Bowl and being in Minnesota. It's been 20 years. Of course, a new Viking stadium would probably change that at some point. Though by the time Sebastian might be pushing 30 by the time he'll be in his mid-20s maybe when the Super Bowl happens. Yeah, I'll be pushing some other number which I don't want to say right now. Ugh. Yeah. But there you go. It was the introduction of me being a football fan. I was very much around. Sebastian, too young to be around at that time, man. Yep, didn't get to see the 2 World Series. Didn't get to see Kirby or Kent. Kirby Puckett, Kent Herbeck. Yeah, that's the thing. But thanks for the call-in, Sebastian. So that was very, very cool indeed. Very, very necessary member of the team of the Purple Mafia group. That's pretty much about it. Not so much stadium talk on the page after that, other than he put a picture of it up there March 1st. He put a picture of it, so do check it out on Facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. He talks about how $323 million, the new state budget forecast released moments ago, showing a $323 million surplus for the remaining of the current biennium. Since many expected we would be facing a deficit budget, this is good news. Interestingly, the state's economic consulting firm Global Insight also predicted only a 25% chance of recession this year, down from the 40% chance in the firm predicted in November. It also predicts a 20% chance that Minnesota will do better than anticipated, up from a 10% chance. Stadium deal. The city of Minneapolis and the Minnesota Vikings reportedly have worked out a stadium financing deal to propose for legislative approval. I have only heard sketchy details so far. A formal announcement could come as early as tomorrow. Now, this was back on March 1st or February 29th, right around there. Oh, actually, yeah, that was right before the picture was taken. Then the picture was taken. They had their press conference, and it's been a lot of dancing around ever since, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, it's losing steam. Oh, here we go. Now we're really close. Oh, it's losing steam. Oh, they're going to do it. Here we go. Oh, no, man. Now they're just, oh, boy. Now another hurdle's coming up. Another guy's raising another hurdle. Another jackass is raising something. Oh, now this Native American tribe wants to get Racino going. But they don't want to do that. Oh, we don't want to have Racino. Oh, that would just, that would burn the whole world down. And yes, I'm 120% against gambling. But other people gamble. And if it's a very easy, profitable, very easy means of building a stadium, and if the Native American tribe wants to get going on it, the politicians just ignore it, oh no, that's not going to happen. Well, what the hell's your problem? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Yep. I was going to come on the air today and say, you know what? Screw talking about the stadium. I'm done. I'm bored with it. Just let me know when it's done. End of story. Well, you know what, folks? I did talk about it, and now I'm saying let me know when it's done. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because out of respect for Sebastian Balls, that was very cool. And yes, that at the time when that deal was announced, that's the closest we've come to having a stadium here to have a Viking stadium deal done since the Metrodome was done back in the late 70s. That's the closest we've come. So We're much closer. We're still waiting for the vote. I believe we're in like a 1 week window right now, though. We're getting insanely close, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're getting insanely close. Let's start getting those shovels ready, or we're gonna be hoisting white flags soon and saying it's been nice, and go Bears and go Packers and go Patriots and 49ers and whoever else you guys' preference is. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the legislators would be tarred and feathered, literally. They would never see the light of day again, I would hope. The current ones, should they vote the whole thing out of here. But then again, who knows? Who knows? We're just going to have to wait and see. We've seen it happen before. We've seen a team leave. I'm impatiently waiting. And again, this is where I'll leave it at. Get back to me when it's done. With that, we are going to, I guess, take a quick break. And we'll get back to, we'll start talking about the main topics of the show. And we'll kind of maybe get into some of that Saints stuff if I feel like it. It's one of those if I feel like it deals. Free agency and NFL draft. Yeah, free agency and NFL draft on Purple Mafia. You're damn right it will be. Of course, free agency always has been on here, but an NFL draft like preview type deal. Whoa, yeah. We'll be back. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, episode number 112, which is a reminder for iPod users, other MP3 players, Microsoft Zune, all those good deals. Welcome back to the show, NFL free agency. Yeah, NFL free agency. It's like, and? No, the Vikings did okay so far in NFL free agency. Yeah, a second-rate performance overall. They've signed a couple of guys that didn't even play last year because of injury. You got it like that. John Carlson, formerly of the Seattle Sea Chickens. That's the tight end. That's the most notable. Jeff Schwartz also did not play. And it's not Jeff as in J-E-F-F. It's, a little bit different. G-E-O-F-F, Schwartz. He will be a guard. Formerly of the Carolina Panthers. Neither one, John Carlson or Jeff Schwartz, played in 2011. But they're welcome members of the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, offensive linemen do not have statistics in the NFL, but tight ends do. And John Carlson, of course, formerly of St. Cloud. Well, yeah, he's a St. Cloud native. St. Cloud, Minnesota. Welcome back to Minnesota, John Carlson, a great tight end. Minnesota High School League and all that good stuff. Good times out there. He's had a fairly successful career since he was drafted in the early second round of 2008. A very solid tight end. The numbers are not bad. Averaging about right around 600 yards and 6 touchdowns a season. Unfortunately, in 2010, a drop-off, though, a significant drop-off down to 318 yards and only 1 touchdown. He played in 15 games that year, caught only 31 balls in that situation there. Unfortunately, though, probably injury bug plaguing him at that point in time. John Carlson, again, missed the entire 2011 season with a serious injury. And, he's a Viking now. Try to form a more youthful tandem at the tight end position. This very much likely spells the end of Visanthe Shenko, as expected, to be a member of the Minnesota Vikings in the future. Visanthe Shenko, it's been nice knowing you. Good luck in the NFL. John Carlson and Kyle Rudolph will try to help the Vikings form some type of tight end tandem similar to, and I know we've heard this a quadrillion times, but similar to what they have going on in New England. You know, Gronkowski and the the two boys over there. It's just one of those deals. It could be good. It really could be good. Kyle Rudolph's numbers in his rookie year were not that exciting, but of course you saw flashes of greatness with Kyle Rudolph for the Vikings last season. Vasanyshenko, well, is he nearing the end? He's getting there. He's getting closer. It's Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski in New England. Excuse me for that near slip-up there. Speaking of slip-ups, Sebastian Balls mentioned that I made a slip-up in episode number 111. I appreciate that very much. Says, despite a few, this was a while back, despite a few errors, still an amazing show. I loved hearing from others, new and old listeners. People, please call in. It's a good way to say what you want when you're too lazy to post on the page. That was kind of funny. He says, I made a big slip-up running back, and Rosenfels went to New York Giants. We traded Sapp for Camarillo, wide receiver, week 2 last year from Miami. So, yep, I appreciate the correction there by Sebastian Balls. The running back, of course, yeah, it's just one of those. Yeah, it was just one of those deals. We got rid of the guy that was a great returner for us, and yeah, here we are. It's like you kind of move on from that. They went to the New York Giants, of course. Sage Rosenfels did not go to Miami. He went there as a free agent the next year. Now he's a Viking, and of course he is re-signed with the Vikings. That's good to know. Yep, it's definitely good to know, I guess. We'll kind of move on from that, though. Back to free agency. Speaking of that, yeah, of course, Peyton Manning wound up going to the Denver Broncos. That's another free agent note we can say. Peyton Manning is a Denver Bronco. Isn't that exciting? Not really, I guess. We'll see what happens there. He will play with Eric Decker. That's the good thing. We'll just see how that develops. Tony Coleman says, food for thought. Not that I really want him to come to Minnesota necessarily. Like I said before, we've played this game already. Hiring a veteran quarterback only to have it backfire, but I'm sure it will be on the tongues of many a Viking fan. I figured I'd pass this along where, yeah, Peyton Manning that was when he was expected to leave the Colts. And, of course, he did. Wound up on the Denver Broncos. Good times there. Brent Jacobson, I'm going to temporarily skip what Sebastian Balls had to say about his pre-mock draft, because we're going to get to that here in a second. His mock draft for 2012, top 10 picks. Yeah, Brent Jacobson's Vikings free agent off-season wish list. Of course, he says we don't need a quarterback. Don't need a halfback, maybe a late rounder, fullback, no need. Wide receiver, he would have liked to see Mike Wallace, Robert Meacham, Marcus Colston, Laurent Robinson, guys like that. Coming to the Vikings, Brandon Lloyd, Stephen Hill, Georgia Tech. Yep, Stephen Hill, we're going to talk a little about him, possible second-round deal for the Vikings. Later on, that'll be nice indeed. We did get a potential backup or offensive guard in Jeff Schwartz. We're going to get to that right about now, as he was talking about maybe signing a veteran backup or something like that at guard. Jeff Schwartz actually might start. Of course, Charlie Johnson will be moving to the left guard position. Not left tackle, left guard for Charlie Johnson, where a more appropriate fit for him. Jeff Schwartz may be the right guard. So there you go. We may have filled those two positions. Right tackle. Right tackle, of course, will be filled by the semi-capable Phil Lodeholt. And left tackle, yeah, we'll be talking about that when we get to the draft here very shortly. Yeah, we did sign some defensive ends. He wants a backup if value exists. Defensive ends, or no, we didn't sign defensive ends, defensive backs. Excuse me, I'm getting crazy here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He mentions a lot of names here. Yes, he does. He wants Cortland Finnegan, guys like that. Brandon Carr. We wound up with Chris Carr. You gotta like that. Vikings getting at least somebody here. We'll get to that shortly, though. But yeah, Jeff Schwartz. Not the most exciting thing of all time, but hey, he adds a possible starter for the position. He's going to compete with the likes of Brandon Fusco, guys like that. Chris Jaguar still a member of the team. Fortunately for him, Joe Berger also a guy that will compete for those guard positions. Brandon Fusco, Joe Berger, guys like that. Of course, the center position locked up pretty solidly with John Sullivan, a 6th-round pick. That worked out. DeMarcus Love is a tackle, left offensive tackle officially. Could be a right tackle, maybe compete with Phil Lodeholt in that area. We'll see what happens with that. At least there's some depth on the offensive line now, especially when we add a certain guy, which I think we will with the 3rd overall pick. You guys know who I'm alluding to. The Vikings also, just mentioning, we did a very small but an okay re-signing in Devin Aroma. He will be returning to the Minnesota Vikings as a wide receiver. Yeah, he's not the greatest thing of all time, but he's okay. I like Devin Aroma more than enough to keep him around. And yes, Chris Carr. He wanted Brandon Carr. Did Brent Jacobson. But yeah, Vikings were able to get Chris Carr. Get to that again in a second, though. Yeah, do check out that. Yeah, he wanted the Vikings to sign Laurent Landry. That would have been very, very fun. But, we might be getting a safety in the 2nd round. There's a guy that's been floating around quite a bit at that spot for the Vikings. A lot of people believe the Vikings would take him in a heartbeat should he wind up there. We'll get to that here very, 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 very shortly, because that's pretty much the next topic at hand. Well, yeah, it is the next topic at hand, but let's slow down a little bit and look at the free agent list again. Yep, Zach Bowman and Chris Carr, the Vikings add depth at the cornerback position. Zach Bowman, well, he was an okay cornerback for the Chicago Bears a few years back in 2009. He was all right for the Bears that year. That was his career year overall. He was a 2008 5th-round pick, 7th pick in the 5th round by the Chicago Bears in 2008, as mentioned. His rookie year barely saw the light of day. In fact, really didn't see it at all. Pretty much inactive that year. But the second year, 2009, very active. 6 interceptions that season. He did get a defensive touchdown, by the way, in the 2008 season, which is amazing. He deflected a pass also. He had 10 deflected passes, by the way, in 2009. He has not had a pass deflected since. His numbers declined year by year in 2010 and 2011. Had a little injury bug deal in 2010, playing 13 games, played all 16 last year, and only had 15 total tackles versus 66 in 2009 and 32 in 2010. So Zach Bowman on the decline, unfortunately, the past 3 years. Vikings hoping to get a rejuvenated Zach Bowman of Alaska, Anchorage. Very cool there in that sense. But yeah, a rejuvenated version of the Bowman, the Bowmaster. See if he can fill some type of need there. He sounds like Asher Allen. He sounds like an Asher Allen that actually could get an interception once in a while. Well, you get the idea. Chris Carr, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, has signed with the Minnesota Vikings as well. He's a year older than Bowman, was an undrafted free agent a few years back, I believe back in 2005, actually, way back. He has had an overall more distinguished career than Bowman. Unfortunately, though, only 6 interceptions total in his career thus far. He played for Oakland, Tennessee, and Baltimore in his career. 3 years with Oakland, 1 with Tennessee, and the last 3 with Baltimore. A solid career overall, kind of in and out. Last year, it's just kind of like Bowman. He dropped off the map a bit. Yeah, he was actually a starting cornerback for one of the best defenses in the NFL, maybe the best secondary in all the NFL, for at least 2 years there with Baltimore. Tennessee was, didn't see as much playing time. His best years were 2009 and 2010 with the Baltimore Ravens, eclipsing the 60 total tackle range, getting 2 interceptions as well. Not bad. Not a bad addition at all. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see him starting at cornerback early on next season and see where we go from there. Chris Cook, of course, acquitted and returning to the Minnesota Vikings next year. That is a huge addition. I hope and pray to God that Chris Cook truly was innocent or something. Yeah, or something, you know what I mean? I truly hope that Chris Cook wasn't guilty of some major stuff there. I have no idea. I can't tell you because I don't know. Of course, you listeners don't know either. Welcome back to the Vikings. Stay out of trouble. And, well, he showed some promise early last year before that whole case stepped up, and that was kind of the end of the line for the Vikings at that point. Once you lose Chris Cook, Antoine Winfield's injury problems reared their ugly head as well. Right about the same time, Cedric Griffin clearly just done. Like, the guy's done. I believe he's heading off to Washington, and happy trails to him. Asher Allen, well, He's still a member of the Vikings. He's still not that good. He's just not that good. We're waiting to see what happens with him. The safety position is pretty much worthless for the Minnesota Vikings, and they haven't signed a safety yet. We'll just see where that goes. Jamarcus Sanford can hit, but his coverage isn't that good. Mr. Raymond showed a whole lot of nothing in the time he played. Yeah. Hussein Abdullah is not a member of the team right now. He's a free agent. They have not re-signed him, and I guess they're not going to, from indications at this point in time. We'll see where things go with that. But defensive backs, well, at least there's some depth in the cornerback positions. Andrew Winfield is old and damaged at this point. So guys like Chris Carr, Chris Cook, and Zach Bowman hopefully can provide something at those positions. I mean, I really hope so, for the Vikings' sake and for us guys that like to watch these guys play out there. Yeah, we just hope they don't get the crap beat out of them like they did last year, because that was some of the worst defense. That was some of the worst secondary defense I've ever seen in the history of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, about as bad as some of the 49ers teams in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, right around there, when they were just some of the worst defense you ever saw. And, yeah, and of course the 1999 Vikings secondary was pretty bad as well. Like, the 99 Vikings were a decent team, but boy, their defensive backs their pass defense was a little terrible there. Just a little terrible. Terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. Yep. Well, the Vikings did sign Nicholas Taylor, though. Undrafted free agent from Florida International, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. Old Nick Taylor from Florida International. All 165 pounds of him will be, I guess, trying out with the team come July, August. Well, let's see if Nicky Taylor can get something done there. We'll see, right? Oh, goody. Andrew Sendejo was another guy the Vikings signed. Sendejo, that's another one. That's a good one. The Vikings did sign him during the season last year at the safety position. Yeah, well, yeah. That's another one of those undrafted guys. Originally started with Dallas Cowboys, 2 years for him. Yeah, I'll just get off it at this point. It's a pretty thin position for the Vikings right now, but at least there's some hope possibly in that department. Aaron Henderson has re-signed with the Minnesota Vikings. He will be here. E.J. Henderson has not re-signed with the Minnesota Vikings. He's still a free agent. Yeah, E.J. Henderson. You know that guy. Yeah, well, Aaron is looking okay right now. I'm happy that he's with the Vikings at this point in time. He did an okay job at the linebacker position last season. Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see where things go with that. But EJ, don't know what's going on. The Vikings did, though, add Marvin Mitchell. That's right, Marvin Mitchell, a 7th-round pick of the New Orleans Saints in 2007. He has spent his career with New Orleans and Miami the past 2 years. Pretty much a depth addition. He's got 2 career sacks, 1 career interception that did return for 55 yards last season as a member of the vaunted Fish in Miami of South Beach. Yeah. But overall, yeah, a depth addition. Who knows? Maybe if it doesn't work out at all, maybe if he's just terrible, he'll get cut. And he's one of those guys. He's gonna be in the. He's a bubble guy coming into the Minnesota Vikings in July and August next year. He's a bubble guy, and that's about it. But clearly he's played 71 NFL games. I would say he's probably going to make the team, but you never know. He's just one of those guys. If he totally flames out, they probably wouldn't have too big of a problem cutting him should he not work out at all. Jasper Brinkley will hopefully return healthy and add some depth to the linebacker position, at the middle linebacker position. That might be where they're headed. That might be why the Vikings have not re-signed E.J. Henderson. Can't imagine younger brother Aaron Henderson is all too happy with that. But E.J. was terrible last year for his standards. Oh, yeah. I mean, I had him listed in the disappointment category last year, and I think a lot of you guys out there did as well. So that pretty much concludes the free agency part of things for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not as terrible as it could be. You get a starting caliber tight end to join another starting caliber tight end and Kyle Rudolph. Both high second-round picks. One's about 6-7 years older than the other. He's about 27. Yep, John Carlson's 27. Kyle Rudolph's got to be about 23, 24. Jeff Schwartz. Yeah, neither one of them played last year. But, yeah, I mean, we're basically picking up a bunch of guys who either were hurt last year or had really, really down seasons. Marvin Mitchell actually had a halfway decent year, though. He does not fit in that category, but the previous four, Carlson, Schwartz, those two, of course, did not play with injuries, severe injuries. Bowman and Carr had very down seasons last year, so we're banking on rebounds. These are rebound free agents right here, ladies and gentlemen. Every single one of those guys, well, the previous four, the first four of those guys, those are rebound signings. I mean, that's what you classify them as. You're hoping that they're going to come out there and rebound. Well, I hope 2 out of the 4 do. We'll see. I think John Carlson is going to be a very good player. Jeff Schwartz, I hope to God the Vikings signed a guy that could start at guard for the next several years. That would be pretty cool. That would be. Help replace Steve Hutchinson. You're going to have to try. You're going to have to try. Yeah, Steve Hutchinson. Oh, Steven. But then again, I guess Charlie Johnson's going to kind of do that at left guard. That was Steve Hutchinson's job, left guard. We'll see if Schwartz can kind of help replace Anthony Herrera at the right guard. So, there you go. Who was also injured very badly. Another ACL for Anthony Herrera. Yeah, a great guy. Guy is one of the cooler players that played with this team in the last several years, and unfortunately, too many injuries, and who knows, maybe he'll be a rebound signing somewhere. We'll see where that leads. But with that, well, I guess we're going to take another break, and we'll finally get to the very first pre-draft talk here on Purple Mafia. And we are back here at Purple Mafia, episode number 112, which is a reminder for iPod users and other MP3 players. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have a draft preview on Purple Mafia. Yeah, it's about bleeping time, isn't it? Yes, it is. Here we are to do that. Sebastian Ball's providing a 2012 mock draft of his own. He has Andrew Luck going to Indiana with the first overall pick. RG3 going to Washington with the second pick. Third pick goes to the Minnesota Vikings, and that would be left tackle Matt Khalil. Thank you, Sebastian Balls. That has earned you, that's right, a gold star. Again, Sebastian Balls, you have earned the gold star for putting Matt Khalil there and not Justin Blackman, not Tannehill, not Morris Claiborne. Oh, no. You have Matt Khalil going to the Vikings. Thank you very much. It's about time. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's about time for, all you crazies out there that for some reason don't want Matt Khalil to come here to the Minnesota Vikings. I do. So let's go to his fourth pick. Tannehill going to Cleveland. That's a guy who's all over the place in the rumor mill. Vikings are probably hoping teams think the Vikings would actually bite on him, so we can try to trade down maybe 2 or 3 spots, add some second round, maybe third round picks, just to add some depth, maybe extra chips on the table to maybe try to strike gold, because the Vikings need to strike gold in the draft. Better, more often than having a halfway decent center, like Matt Burke and then John Sullivan in the 6th round. It'd be nice to hit on like a quarterback, like Tom Brady or something. Yeah, like something like that. I'm just saying. So yeah, Sebastian, back to the point. Morris Claiborne going to Tampa Bay. Justin Blackmon off to St. Louis. Pope. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Pope heading to the Jacksonville. Poe, not Pope. What am I saying? Poe heading to Jacksonville. Couples going to Miami. Cox to Carolina. And Trent. That's right. Trent Richardson going to Buffalo. 10th. I kind of think Richardson's going to go a little higher. I don't know. There's people thinking that he could go to St. Louis to replace Steven Jackson. That would not surprise me, though St. Louis kind of reeks of a Justin Blackmon pick. I don't know. Jacksonville still has a great running game over there. Miami could probably use Trent Richardson, I would think. I don't know about Reggie Bush anymore. Carolina, well, they have running backs there. Buffalo, well, okay. Richardson will not get out of the top 10 at least. That's the good thing. Good stuff right there. Slide up again. You got Brent Jacobson already saying what he had to say on the Facebook page. Of course, these are all on the Facebook page, by the way. That's why I'm talking about Sebastian Balls and Brent Jacobson and guys like that. Sebastian Balls talking about Moss being a 49er. I can't see it. Sorry, but nope. Too wired. Yeah, Randy Moss is a San Francisco 49er. That's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, so is Manningham, by the way. Manningham, not coming to the Vikings. He's going to the Niners. We'll see what happens with that. Alex Smith is still a quarterback. Not sure how great he's going to be in San Francisco. Maybe that was just one good year. I have no idea. Alex Smith will never be a great quarterback in this league, as far as I'm concerned. But if he can be a more than competent one like he was last year, who knows? 49ers might win the Super Bowl next year. They might be a cute little pick to win it. Never know. But it won't be because Randy Moss suits up for them. Next topic. Dan Taylor says we have our first free agent in John Carlson from the Seahawks. Give us a great pair of young tight ends to go over the middle. That's right. Dan Taylor. Good thoughts there. We're going to get back to what he has to say later on. He talked about Chris Cook being acquitted on all counts. He's still a horrible, horrible human being. But it looks like he can go back playing corner for us. Again, I apologize, guys. I wanted to have these kind of go with a free agent deal here. Excuse me. A lot of people saying that the Vikings are one of the teams that should lay low, according to what the link that Brent Jacobson puts up there. That's very true. Sebastian Balls posting a picture of what Peyton Manning would look like in a Broncos jersey. Of course, that in the NFL game right there. I believe this is from Madden. I do believe it's from Madden. Yep. Peyton Manning is a Denver Bronco. That's crazy. That's very crazy. Tony Coleman and Dan Taylor talking about some crazy stuff. Yes, they are. Dan Taylor, about the crazy stuff with the Saints. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah. You didn't really think I was going to close the show with that without talking about that, did you? Yeah, I was just kidding when I said if I feel like it. I have to bash the Saints a little bit, don't we? So we'll close the free agent talk completely here. Sebastian Ball is saying, sucks we didn't make a big splash in free agent, big name-wise, and that's true. I agree with him there. Sebastian continues with Carlson, tight end, former Seahawk. Love this guy. If we can implement a good West Coast offense, he will be huge for us, as well as Rudolph. That was way back in March 23rd. That was, I don't know how that one wound up in so high, but I guess that's how it goes. Yeah, Carlson could be a big addition. But excuse me for the lack of organization a little bit there, folks. And it's a Facebook page. Stuff kind of goes all over the place. So back to the point of the NFL draft. To be honest, I think Trent Richardson, I think the St. Louis Rams would be smart to take him, to be honest with you, if I was a Ram. The first 5 picks, I think, are pretty close to being right on the money. Though Trent Richardson could go as high as the Cleveland Browns, 4th overall. There's a lot of talk about that. It could go all over the place. This Tannehill guy, there's steam on him, and he's all over the place, folks. Tannehill is all over the place. He could go anywhere from 3rd, say if the Vikings trade down, or if Vikings are crazy and take him. He could go as high as 3rd and down to 10th to Buffalo. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, he's all over the place, though he probably will not, I repeat, will not slide past the 8th pick of the Miami Dolphins. Tannehill will be a Dolphin should he wind up at the 8th pick. Most people agree with that at this point in time. Yeah, that's what I think. That's kind of where I think he's going, but who knows? I would not be surprised to see Trent Richardson going to the Browns. But yeah, I think it's between Tannehill, Blackman, and Richardson going to the Browns. But yeah, about the Vikings. Let's talk about our team, huh? Yeah, we're going to talk about the Vikings in the draft. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you probably can imagine that I've been leaning this way pretty much since November, I officially endorsed Matt Khalil for the Minnesota Vikings with the 3rd overall pick in the 2012 draft. Matt Khalil, the left tackle position is obviously the most important position on the offensive line. The Minnesota Vikings for the last 10 years or so had Bryant McKinnie there. He was hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. He just it just never worked out because he was one of those infamous annoying holdout players. It seems like everybody in the NFL draft that has held out has gone on to be a failure in the NFL, as far as I'm concerned. The Achilles Smiths of the world. Ryan Leaf, I believe, held out for a little bit or almost held out. It was just like, come on, man. Of course, Bryant McKinnie is a huge one, an absolute failure, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, he was an above-average football player, but ladies and gentlemen, for what that guy, formerly of the Miami Hurricanes, was projected to be in the National Football League, do you think for 1 second that he came close to those expectations? Oh, hell no. Did Bryant McKinnie live up to those expectations? All indications Matt Khalil is a lot more stable, a lot better leader, and probably and that all adds up to me to being a hell of a lot better player in the National Football League because his skill is is clearly obvious at that left tackle position. He is the best player in the draft. If there wasn't those two quarterbacks, if there wasn't Andrew Luck or RG3, who is obviously RG3 he's kind of like the guy that went number 1 overall last year to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like him. It's just one of those deals. He's kind of like Cam Newton. You know, he's kind of like the Cam Newton of the draft, and it actually did work out. It wasn't just steam. Cam Newton was a good player. You know, that guy. Yeah, okay, I'll keep calling him that guy. But yeah, Cam Newton was pretty damn good in the NFL. A lot of people thought it's like, man, he really blew up in college for 1 year, just one bleeping year. But then, gosh darn it worked out. Yeah, it did. Wow, that worked out pretty good. Here we are again this year with a guy like RG3. He'll probably be this year's Cam Newton. Andrew Luck, the Indianapolis Colts, are hoping he will be the next Peyton Manning, basically. Somebody like that. And how can you go wrong with a horseshoe and Luck? How can you possibly go wrong with that? If somehow it doesn't work out, that would be pretty weird, huh? That's something we'll be coming back to and laughing about quite a bit in the future. Because I don't think you can go wrong with something like that. But again, to the point, Matt Khalil would be the number 1 overall pick if it wasn't for a guy like, if it wasn't for the phenom blue chip quarterbacks that are going to go in the two spots ahead of the Minnesota Vikings. Matt Khalil, to me, would be the number 1 overall pick in this draft, if not for that. Some people go as far as to say Trent Richardson is that guy. I think it's Khalil. It's a foundation, ladies and gentlemen. You got to build a foundation, and the Vikings finally will have the ultimate left tackle on this team for the first time since probably the 1970s with a guy like Ron Yary. He did pretty good for the Vikings, ladies and gentlemen, did Ron Yary. He played here for an awfully long time. He played in multiple Super Bowls. Hopefully Matt Khalil does the same for your Minnesota Vikings. Matt Khalil of the USC Trojans is a no-brainer pick for the Minnesota Vikings, according to everybody. Well, almost everybody. Some people want Justin Blackman. Some people would go as far as to say Tannehill because they're so down on Ponder, which I don't blame people for being down on Ponder, but I don't know if you can give up that easy. And of course, there's Chris Claiborne, who could be the franchise cornerback that this team hasn't had for an awfully long time. I mean, Antoine Winfield is the closest thing to a franchise cornerback, but he's also hurt and old. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. would be an awesome, unbelievable deal to see Matt Khalil come to the Vikings and pan out like he is expected to. It would be unbelievable for the Vikings to have Matt Khalil as part of the absolute foundation of the future of this offensive line. And that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, Morris Claiborne of LSU. It's like I say, it wouldn't kill me to have him, but man, I'd be shocked if he has a better NFL career than Khalil. I'd be shocked if Justin Blackmon has a better NFL career than Matt Khalil. There's foundations, and then there's the other parts. There's the wings. This man is the foundation, folks. Yes, sir. I think I've said enough about Matt Khalil to this point. I think you get my point. Sorry if I'm going on too long about it. Second round, well, you got some picks up there. Stephen Hill is a guy, everybody wants a wide receiver, me included. Stephen Hill is a guy the Vikings would probably pounce on, and a lot of people would love to see him here. He's kind of like got the nickname Minitron out there. He, of course, of Georgia Tech, projected to go late in the first round, potentially 26 to the Buffalo Bills, at least according to WalterFootball.com. That's right, WalterFootball.com has Stephen Hill going to the Bills. It would be really nice to see him come to the Vikings with that pick, the 35th pick, I believe. Yeah, 35th pick overall, early in the second round. But according to Walter Football and multiple other sources out there, a lot of indications are leaning towards Harrison Smith, strong safety of Notre Dame, coming to the Minnesota Vikings. And if that were to happen, well, that's what you'd be hearing in front of my TV set. Yeah, or hopefully it's, my TV that's not working right now. The one that I'm looking at right now, it's not working. And it's very frustrating, yeah. Toshiba, get your acts together out there and get this thing fixed before the NFL draft. If I can even be, get it done before the draft, that would be very nice. Yeah. Kind of tired of watching on an old 18-year-old TV. It'd be nice to watch something that's a couple of months old instead, wouldn't it? Yeah. You guys get the idea. And of course, I've had TVs in between then, but yeah, it's just how it goes sometimes, folks. It's just how it goes in this economy. Yes, not a good one. But no, Harrison Smith would be a fantastic pick for the Vikings in the second round. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Not any doubt whatsoever. This team is crying out for a strong safety to come to this organization, or a free safety, but a strong safety that's actually good coming here would be phenomenal. Absolutely awesome. And we're waiting and praying and hoping that the young man will be a Minnesota Viking and that Walter Football is correct. Got guys like Alshon Jeffrey of South Carolina. He's projected a pick ahead of the Vikings, going to the Colts. Doug Martin, that's a running back, though. Rebel Randall of LSU. That's another LSU Tiger. Has another wide receiver. Mohamed Sanu of Rutgers as well, another wide receiver. I mean, there's wide receivers all over the place. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised to see the Minnesota Vikings trade up in the second round to get one of these guys, to get one of those wide receivers. Get Harrison Smith. Yes, I think that's the absolute. That's another big piece right there the Vikings need to get. I endorse that all the way. But a guy like Alshon Jeffrey, Stephen Hill, or Ruben Randall, Mohamed Sanu of Rutgers, guys like that, those are guys the Vikings need to look at. They need to get, they're the ones watching these guys in person. They're the guys taking all these mental tests, like the Wonderlic and stuff, which apparently Morris Claiborne did horribly in. But to get one of these guys, get an opinion on one of them, hopefully you strike gold. You move up in the draft in the second round, and you get them. I mean, when you have as many picks as the Vikings do in the fourth round, there is a possibility they could move up if they have an opinion on somebody. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with bringing in 1 trillion draft picks and hopefully striking gold on some of them. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. I hope the Vikings can finally, not only, you got the left tackle to come out of this draft with a super-duper left tackle, a very good safety, and a good receiver. If you come out of the draft with all three of those, Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome if you got those three guys, if you got three guys like that out of this draft? And I know everybody else in the country, Colts fans, Jaguars fans, Bengals fans, whatever, Rams, are all saying the same thing. Maybe possibly different positions, but they're all saying, oh, if we could come out of the draft with Doug Martin at running back and Jarrell Worthy at defensive tackle. You know, I mean, I know people are saying that, but there are teams in the NFL that come out of the draft smiling. There are teams in the NFL that have come out of the draft several times for many years and generated some success with something other than the first-round pick, which is like the no-brainer one. You got to hit on some of these guys in the second and third rounds. Damn it. Almost said something really bad. But you got to do it. You got to hit on some of these guys. I mean, I'm sick and tired of mediocre players. It's time to hit on some players, folks. It really is. Now, Toby Gerhart probably looks like an actually better pick than some people may have thought, including myself, with that early first-round pick. But at the same time, it took about 2 or 3 years for him to even be anything, and you took him at the position where the best player in the history of the team plays at the running back position, so that kind of was not the smartest move ever. But again, hindsight is 20/20 in some ways, though, yeah, again, you take a guy at the same position, there's only one running back, you know, you could maybe put the backup in here and there, but not much. Not as much as you'd like, and Toby Gerhart was so awful his first 2 years in the league, or first year in the league, I should say. First year and a half in the league, he was so awful that, well, it was like putting him in was pretty much like getting your teeth pulled. So, again, Vikings need to get some hits here. And if you're going to trade up, oh, please, please, please take the right guy. That's all I got to say. It's time to get lucky and time to get hot. It's time to move forward. The Green Bay Packers, God forbid, I'm saying their names here, but have been about as good of an organization in the draft as there is in the NFL. The Patriots as well. Teams like that. It's time to get a culture of competence in Winter Park, ladies and gentlemen. And let's pray to God that they stay in Winter Park and not somewhere in Orange County or something like that. Yeah. With that note, we're going to talk about a team, a coaching staff, or at least a couple of the coaches. Well, one in particular. That's a culture of crime. And here we are once again, episode number 112. Reminder for all you out there listening to the show. Enough of me talking about iPods, right? Yeah, a culture of crime. A culture of crime, folks. The New Orleans Saints. Oh, boy. Weren't you just wondering what the heck this was all about? Yeah, weren't you wondering for the longest time why guys like Kurt Warner and Brett Favre were coming out of that game with serious injuries to the point that they did? Kurt Warner never wanted to play again after that. Brett Favre, well, he pretty much never wanted to play again either, as we saw in 2010, 2010, whatever you wanted to call it. What a joke, right? What a joke. And didn't you know that a guy like Greg Williams, who said, let's go for the monster's head. You got to take off the head of the monster, or however you worded it. Greg Williams, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is old news, but those of you living in a cave, Greg Williams, of course. Information on him founded to, have been running a bounty. A bounty, yep. With the Saints and, of course, early on with the Buffalo Bills, maybe even as far back as the Washington Redskins, where he was actually motivating players to injure, not necessarily not necessarily just take a guy out, but injure players. Serious injuries inflicted on the opponent. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Williams was trying to take off Brett Favre's head. They took out his ankle. It was as purple as the Purple Mafia logo. Yep. And black, just like my outfit I was wearing. Yeah. Brett Favre taking some serious hits in that game. The high-low, of course, the biggest of them all. And, of course, a Doyle guy was about as effective for for the Vikings last year as he was effective for the Vikings in 2009. Yeah, by hurting Brett Favre. Oh, I'm sure he got a little check from Greg Williams because Greg Williams is paying these players money, giving them rewards, rewarding players for injuring members of the Vikings, the 49ers, and other players in the postseasons, particularly over the course of time. Went to the St. Louis Rams as the defensive coordinator. Of course, he has now been suspended indefinitely. But didn't you just know there was something wrong? Didn't you just know? And yep, Dan Taylor, kind enough to post the link on the page a while ago. Thank you again, Dan Taylor, a very great poster here on Facebook and on Twitter. Tony Coleman responding, saying, I remember remarking during the game and since how dirty they were playing. I was labeled as a sore loser. Turns out I was right. You are so correct, Tony. You are so correct. Sore losers, huh? Yeah, they're sore all right because they were deliberately injured during the game by the defensive coordinator of the New Orleans Saints. And I'm saying this with full sincerity and with full objectivity. I don't care if the Dallas freaking Cowboys were playing against the New Orleans Saints in that NFC Championship game, or the Packers. That type of activity has no place in professional sports whatsoever, and Greg Williams should never see the light of day again. That is my stance on the thing. Kind of surprised nobody actually called in on it, but no, I mean, stuff like this is just, it's off the charts. It really is. It's off the frickin' charts. I just cannot believe this happened for as long as it did, and nobody blew the whistle earlier. Now, I saw something on here from Anthony from LA, I thought. Maybe I was on the previous show that I talked about it. Tony Coleman also saying, karma, their Super Bowl win was ill-gotten, and now some of these guys might get what's coming to them, except that they get to keep their Super Bowl rings. Yeah. Isn't that BS? Isn't that BS? And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking basically one last thing should be done, revoke their title. Yeah, it's like, no. But they will get a near-death, some of these guys will get a near-death penalty. Coach Sean Payton, that's right, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, will be suspended for the entire season. That's right, the entire season. No more Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints, at least for the next year. Good riddance to him. And again, it's karma, I guess. That's basically what it is. Karma is what it is, I suppose. And I don't think we're going to be missing him too much. Yeah, man, I thought I saw a post from Anthony from LA on here. And I apologize, Anthony, if there is something on here that I'm not finding, or if there was some call-ins from some of you guys earlier that I missed. If there is, I will post it on. I will play it on the next show, which probably won't be that far from now, quite honestly. I mean, my schedule is allowing me to do a little bit more. It's giving me a little more versatility this year, and a little bit last year too at times. But this year especially, last year was kind of crazy. But this year, there's a little more versatility in my schedule than previous years. So, kind of like that. That's pretty much about it, though. I saved the quote-unquote best topic for last, didn't I? Well, no. The best topic is the draft, because it's the most exciting. It's the Vikings' best chance to bring some serious competence to this organization. And it's on Rick Steelman now to be the man in charge. The Vikings, for the first time in many years, have a full-blown general manager. And it's going to be good stuff. It is. It's going to be nice to have a full-blown general manager of the Vikings, if he does the right job. I hope he does. Viking fans out there, of course, hope as well that he is able to hit on the draft. Of course, the free agent strategy clearly shows that, the approach the Vikings are taking is they are all in on the draft in terms of that's how they want to rebuild this team. That is how they want to not only rebuild this team, but build this team long-term. Is through the draft, not through just signing free agents. You can't always throw money at problems. Sometimes you got to actually, get down in the nitty-gritty, do some scouting, put all your focus on scouting for the draft, and gosh dang it, hit on several pieces, not just one or two. Not just, Adrian Peterson's available. Oh, God, we took Adrian Peterson. Well, of course you took Adrian Peterson. Who were you going to take? Brady Quinn? That would have worked out. Not. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Some of those players were no-brain picks. The money these men earned, their six-figure salaries, these executives and scouts and all these guys, their money is earned by not by guys like some of us sitting in front of a computer watching YouTube videos. Those are highlights. You have to watch lowlights too, folks. If you really truly want to see talent, you want to see how players handle adversity, not just success. You have to see them handle both. Handle success and adversity. Absolutely. And, of course, that is what the executives and scouts for the Minnesota Vikings need to do as best as possible. And, of course, they know that. They don't need me telling them that. But, no, if you're going to be all in on the draft, then gosh darn it. Gosh darn it, be successful this time. Come out of this draft smiling. Come out of this draft with your teeth sparkling, ladies and gentlemen, and your eyes twinkling, knowing you landed 4 or 5 legitimate pieces for the future of this team. Not 1.5. It's one of those deals. Forgive me for the stuff. I'm not Denard Span, and I don't need to be, though he's having a heck of a start to his season, isn't he? He's actually getting hits for the Twins. Good. That's what you want your leadoff hitter to do. Final post here made by Tony Coleman very, very recently. I apologize that I almost missed it. He posted a link to an article. Coleman does post a lot of good links on here, ladies and gentlemen. He's been very good about it for a long time. Thanks again, Tony. Fran Tarkenton, back in the quotes out there, back in the news, saying Dick Butkus didn't have bounties on anybody because if he did, he would have killed. As in, Dick Butkus would have actually killed people. Good thoughts by Fran Tarkenton, and it's mocking the stupidity of men like Greg Williams and others out there that went along with it. What the hell were you thinking? Honestly. It's like you do it maybe when you're playing a video game or something. NFL 2K whatever, NFL 2K12, NFL whatever, John Madden. Maybe you're screwing around with your buddy one time. Oh, yeah, he's out, he's done. You're out. But we're talking about real life here. That's BS. That's BS. It has no place in professional sports whatsoever. You want to be a winner, win by beating the other team, not by injuring people. Maybe you could knock him around a bit and see how he handles it. Bone-rattling collisions, that's fine. That's fine. But low blows to the knee and stuff like that and high-low hits, get out of here. Just get out of here and never come back. Thank you so very much. With that, we are going to get to the contact details. Again, as mentioned earlier, Purple Mafia is available on the sportstuff.com and on iTunes. Always appreciate you guys listening. We would like you to join the message boards on the sportstuff.com. Do go to the front page of the website, click on the button that says TSS Boards, then click register and sign up, get your screen name, get on there and talk about to the Minnesota Vikings. The forums are split up in the divisions of the National Football League, which can generate added discussion, putting team rivals in the same forums. It's good stuff. Good idea by Dylan Richardson a while ago that he set that up. Good stuff. Thank you again, Dylan Richardson, for that. And without him, there is no Purple Mafia. Thank you always very much, buddy. And, the executive producer of thesportstuff.com and, of course, the creator of thesportstuff.com. Yeah. Just like I'm the creator of Purple Mafia. But, it's one of those deals. Facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Twitter.com/Purple Mafia Show. Like and or follow those respective accounts. Please do be kind out there. Those of you out there, I know there's a lot of guys out there that like the show. Do me a huge favor and give me a rating on iTunes. Please do that. Give me a good rating. If you like the show, give me a good rating and tell us why. Maybe even say something you don't like also very much. And you're more than welcome to share opinions and what you'd like improved or what's he could get a little better at this, but I like this, stuff like that. You don't have to give me 5 stars. If it's 3 or 4, I can live with that. If it's 2, get out of here. No, I'm kidding. It's you have a right to your opinion. If you like or hate the show, that's up to you. I can't stop anybody from saying what they say. You're more than welcome to be a part of Purple Mafia on iTunes, giving out your opinions. And if you do like the show, hey, you're doing nothing but helping me so very much if you were able to do that. Because the more good ratings on there makes the show look stronger. It does. It shows that people actually listen to the show and like it. Simple math there. It would be very terrific. It sure would. So with that, we are going to call it a show. Don't forget to call into the phone line, though, first. 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. Remember that it is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention which show you're calling in for, which is Purple Mafia. And there you go. Opine, shout out, question, comment, whatever. Your voice is mine. You get the idea. It would be terrific. But with that, it's draft time, folks, and it's stadium time. We're going to build a foundation of the players, and we're going to hopefully build a foundation of the stadium. All at once. Isn't that cool? Wouldn't that be nice? You got Matt Khalil at left tackle, and you got a new stadium beginning construction later in 2012. Here we go. That is what I'm talking about, folks. Sounds good, doesn't it? We'll be back with good news on Purple Mafia's, episode number 113. But there will be good news because guess what, folks? The 13th is when I met the most wonderful girl in my life. So, hey, there's nothing to 13. So we'll be back on episode number 113 sooner rather than later.